I got my coffee. I got my setups all going here, and I'm ready to rant. Today we're going to talk about acoustic foam. That's some mediocre coffee. Speaking of mediocre, let's talk about acoustic foam. Now, I was going down a bit of a rabbit hole. There's a bunch of tech YouTubers that have videos on acoustic foam, and what's going on here? Because I follow them for things like, hey, what processor should I put in my computer and stuff like that, and all of a sudden they're talking about acoustic treatment for a room. Oh, this is a little weird. So a bunch of them were sponsored by an acoustic foam company, which is fine. They did a video showing like before and after stuff and explaining how the stuff works, which is fine. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, it's still not useful for me, but that's fine. And then I start getting videos recommended to me of different streamers who've similar situations and stuff like that. And they've got these big headlines of acoustic foam works. Trust us, acoustic foam works. Don't listen to the haters, I guess. Acoustic foam works in certain situations, is what it should say. Okay, so I go down this rabbit hole, and one guy is saying that anyone who says acoustic foam causes more harm than good is just an elitist trying to justify the more expensive panels that they're using in their room. This is where we run into the situation of two things can be right at the same time. If all you are doing is recording spoken voice in a room and you have a high frequency ring that's driving you nuts, acoustic foam may be the answer. I personally would go for just moving blankets. I've done this before. I don't bother doing them in this room. So maybe I've got a whole bunch of ring coming off my microphone. That'll be ironic. But generally speaking, getting rid of that ring once you do, hey, everything sounds better. Isn't this great that acoustic foam works? Cool. And I've seen a video where a guy takes a snare drum, whack, 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 and the rattle and the ring in the room, it's unbearable. They put up some foam, it sounds a bit better. They put up more foam, it sounds even better. All of these situations are missing a very key component. Low frequencies. Okay? Acoustic foam is just not dense enough to deal with low frequency information. That's where things like the Rockwell panels that I'm going to be using in my studio come in. That's where, the Owens Corning 703, I think it is. Like, acoustic panels that are made for a more professional environment reach down lower in terms of their absorption. So if you take a drum kit and you put it in that room that they treated with acoustic foam, the cymbals are going to sound a little better. The snare drum's going to sound a little better because they got rid of a bunch of this rattle and ring in the room, and the kick drum is going to sound horrible. It's either going to sound way too boomy, like they're going to hit that kick drum and it's going to echo through the room and they're going to pick that up and it's just going to sound way too big and way too much low frequency information. Or, arguably worse, you're going to get phase cancellations from those echoes and your low frequencies on your kick drum are just going to vanish and it's just going to sound horrible. So now you've got these weird echoes in the room where some of the information is echoing back and some is not. And that's where you get, people from recording studios and people who know a lot about acoustics basically saying, skip foam, it causes more harm than good. They're not wrong. It can, especially when you're dealing with drums and bass guitar, electric guitar, this kind of stuff that has a lot of low frequency information that's very loud. Foam will not help. It's just, it can't. It's a matter of physics. It's not a matter of opinion. And that's where that opinion comes from. If all you are doing is talking into a microphone, you're doing YouTube videos, you're doing Twitch videos, and you want to get some acoustic foam, yeah, ignore the haters, I guess. and get yourself some acoustic foam. I would recommend just putting up some moving blankets, right? You put a moving blanket in front of you, you have some stuff on the walls behind you so that you don't get too much reflection from behind because it messes with it a little bit. And out of frame, you put 2 more acoustic blankets, 1 on each side of you. It will instantly improve things. It's a temporary fix, so if you change rooms and things like that, you're not destroying your walls, blah, 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 blah. If you're going to take things a bit more seriously and you're looking to record instruments and things like that, and you want to sound treat your room, by the time you get enough foam in a larger room to make a difference for the larger room, you may as well have gone with rock wool panels. Go the homemade route. You'll save yourself some money. You can sound treat a room really well for under $100, give or take. My recording studio is probably going to have under $200 worth of sound treatment in it, and it's going to sound way better than if I spent $200 on foam. And that's kind of it. So long story short, no, it's not just, oh, they're just hating on foam. It works perfect and you need it, and that's all you need. In some situations, foam works perfectly fine. Cool. And if you have it, don't try to justify it to yourself by saying it's just as good as stuff made out of rock wool or out of other types of insulation and other higher end materials. It's not. It works perfect for your situation. That's all it needs to do, but don't try and justify it, especially if you're running a recording studio situation and you're trying to say, like, no, it's perfectly fine. Why would you bother spending money on this better? There's a reason they do it. Your situation determines what you need and what will work best for you. The difference is rock wool or certain fiberglass insulation built panels will be far more effective in more situations than acoustic foam will be. That's the long and the short of it. That's the video. Why did I do this whole rant? But let me know. Did you put up acoustic foam and it sounded perfect? So what the heck is this random dude on the internet in a, non-acoustically treated ringy room that you can hear all my fans and stuff going? Again, my studio's not done yet. Cut me some slack. Or did you buy a bunch of acoustic foam, glue it to your walls, notice it didn't do a whole lot, scrape it off, and now you've got to deal with that and you have to put up some better stuff? People need to hear that story too. But until next time, I'm going to finish some coffee. You finish the video. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'll see you next time.